I'm a board member of the Philippine Women's Center of Quebec, as well as the Kapitbisig Center, and I'm involved in Montreal, and I coordinate Sigaw ng Bayan radio show, and I perform with the Sinag Bayan Cultural Collective. So, doing lots of stuff in the Filipino community for the Kapitbisig Center.
Magandang hapon, nakikinig kayo sa Sigaw ng Bayan on CKUT 90.3 FM. This is another pre-recorded show. It's March 11th and a recording for March 13th. Fridays at 2 o'clock is when Sigaw ng Bayan is on the air. So on today's show we're going to be talking about some great Filipinas, and we decided...
Well, pretty much one of the main coordinators, me and Julie Nieto and Neil Castro, were the three of us are sort of the secretariat, I guess you would call it, for the conference. So yeah, we consult with the board of the Kapitbisig Center to make sure that the issues that are being brought out are, the things that are being discussed in the community. And the conference is really based on the research that's been conducted over the years through the National Alliance of Filipino Women in Canada, the Ugnayan ng Kabataan Pilipino sa Canada, Filipino-Canadian Youth Alliance. And yeah, just to, just really wanting to bring out the issues and really, get lots of other Filipino youth involved and aware of those things that are happening in the community. Well, this is the story of my life. No, I started, well, because I grew up in the east end of Montreal, where 1% of Filipinos live. So we knew pretty much all of the families that were like Filipino. We used to go to rosary prayer like at every single house every day for like the month of October and May. So I knew a lot of the Filipino community there, but like I wasn't really, like most of my friends weren't Filipino. It was really when my mom retired after grade 6. So when I started high school, I started going to, like, my mom got involved in different Filipino organizations, and so that's how I started getting involved. Because otherwise I didn't really know that many Filipinos. I didn't really identify with the Filipino community. I kind of dropped out after a while because of some, I just wasn't feeling really connected with it. But it was actually when I started my master's research in educational psychology, and I wanted to study the effects of language policy on Filipino youth. So that's how I discovered the Philippine Women's Center in Kabataan, Montreal, and I discovered that there were organizations that were actually doing research and that were, looking at policy engagement and looking at really empowering the Filipino community through educating, through skills building, and through, participatory action research. So that's when I started to see, like, wow, it's more than just, your identity. Filipino identity is more than just about, like, the dances and, the food and, like, you're able to speak the language, but it's about understanding, like, your history and your roots. And yeah, so that's when I started to see, like, my family and my own family's history of migration in the context of, globalization and, the history of the Philippines, the Marcos dictatorship, and why people were fleeing the country, and then also, like, why Canada, like, what Canada needed at the time. The fact that my mom was able to work as a teacher for 10 years in Canada is something that's, I think is so important for my own family history and how I got to be where I am today. And just seeing what's happening in the Filipino community today and how the youth are suffering today, it's just so frustrating, and I really want, I'm really happy to be a part of something that's working to change that. Well, for me, like, how I got involved with the Philippine Women's Center through attending one of their conferences. It was the Making the Filipino Community Count conference in Quebec in 2006. And so I just think that it's so important to go because it'll be something that'll really open your eyes and, possibly change your life. So yeah, that's what I'm hoping that other people will be as blown away as I was. And because I think everyone deserves to know their history and deserves to have that opportunity to empower their community.
Thanks again for listening to Sigaw ng Bayan on CKUT 90.3 FM. As usual, before we finish up the show, let's just get into Isang Bagsak. Isang Bagsak!